Great to have you along for the ride. Thanks a lot for stopping by. Really glad to have this guy back. U.S. Army veteran, author of Dear America, Live Like It's 9/12. It's Graham Allen. Graham, how are you?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm living the dream. It's really good to have you back on. Let's do this more often, first and foremost. The website
Absolutely.
is grahamallensc.com. Go there and check him out. I love your take on things. I have to talk to you about Afghanistan, and I definitely want to jump in both feet into living like it's 9/12. That's what I try to do, but most of America has forgotten. Let's start with Afghanistan. Obviously, as a U.S. Army veteran, you're a guy who spent time in Iraq, and I appreciate your service. Thank you. There's no way you pull the military out first, do you, Graham? What the hell
No.
were we thinking?
Well, we weren't thinking. Joe Biden doesn't think. Joe Biden doesn't have a clue. It's one of two things. Either one, every single person in the intelligence community, the military community, Joe Biden's advisors communities are absolute idiots, or Joe Biden completely and utterly made what could be the worst military decision in United States history. As Donald Trump Jr. said, he has single-handedly created the worst hostage situation possible. And here's what's going to end up happening. America has to make good on the world stage for what America promises to do. The end. We made promises to a lot of people. We have a lot of allies over there, but most importantly, we have a lot of Americans over there. The end. I go along with Rob O'Neill's sentiments that he had the other day. We should be sending, allowing the ROE, the rules of engagement, whatever they need to be. We need to move mountains, rain down unholy God fire, whatever we have to do to get our people back. The end. There is no other priority. There is no other question. There is no anything of any kind in that regard right now. The only thing that matters,
Right.
the only thing that matters is getting our people back. After that, there needs to be resignations. There needs to be firings. There needs to be, in my opinion, impeachments. There needs to be everything. This cannot be let go. And Republican elected officials in Congress need to do their freaking job and actually have a backbone when we get our people back and we can focus on how this happened in the first place. We cannot allow this to let go. We absolutely can't, because that's what the Democrats are hoping that we do,
Right.
is that they'll focus on the crisis that we have right now. And then once we get everybody back, that we'll just forget about it and let it go. We cannot do that.
Doing it backwards this way is exponentially harder and worse than had you done it right the first time. It's Graham Allen. GrahamAllenSC.com is the website. Get his new book, Dear America, Live Like It's 9/12. So how do you do it now? I mean, obviously, you leave the military there. You don't let the Taliban rush in and pretend they pushed us out, which they didn't. We were leaving for some stupid reason. Leave the military there. Protect those who helped us. Get every American out. Tell them if you harm one hair on one head of one American civilian or soldier, we blow you off the map. Tell them that. Stand by that. Drop the bombs if you have to. But now we've done it backwards, Graham. You're a military guy. How do you do it? Do you send 30,000 back in? 40,000 back in? Do you blow up the palace? How do we get our people out and those who help us, knowing they're being executed as they're found?
Well, we're doing everything wrong. We are acknowledging the Taliban as an actual regime, which, first of all, they don't deserve to be that. These people are animals. The end. Second of all, you're right. We're in a bad situation now. We're in a situation where we only had 2,500 troops, I believe it was at one time. Now there's 1,000 troops. The way that you're going to be able to go in there and get people out is you're going to have to send people into the streets, because they're clogging up the runways. They're clogging up the areas to get to the airports, and our people are not able to get to where they need to go. Jen Psaki just today in the White House press briefing said that we do not have Americans stranded in Afghanistan. That is not made up. That is an actual quote. That is a real thing that she said. She got into it with Peter Doocy from Fox News.
Yeah.
She said that Peter Doocy was being a dishonest journalist for saying that we have stranded Americans in Afghanistan. Are you freaking kidding me? Like, these are the people that are in charge. We had the president of the United States just yesterday that was saying the first thing you need to do in a hurricane is get a COVID-19 shot. These are the people that
Wow.
are making these decisions. It is absolute insanity. I don't see it ending peacefully. The Taliban has already drawn a line in the sand. to basically say that if Americans are not out by August 31st, that there's going to be consequences. So we're allowing Blinken is literally was asked on Face the Nation, are we asking the Taliban for permission? And he responds with, well, they are in charge
Wow.
of Kabul. Are you kidding me? No, we are the United States of America. The end. To quote Cat Williams, we are better than you. Like,
Yes.
you don't tell the United States how we can operate and what we can do when you have our people in harm's way.
Exactly right.
So I don't see this going well. I really don't. Joe Biden is floating the idea, or either he's enacted it by now, where we're talking about bringing civilian airlines in to help us get more people out. Talk about a nightmare catastrophe waiting to happen there. This is just a fuse of a time bomb just waiting to explode, of massive proportions.
Right.
And if we're not able to go get these people, I don't think that they get to the airport, and I really think that we lose American lives. And unfortunately, I think we lose American lives either way, because what's going to end up having to happen is you're going to have to send more troops in, because they're going to have to go boots on the ground to go clear these arteries up, these roadways, for people to get to the airport, and people are going to get hurt. And this is 100% on Joe Biden's head.
And it was 100%. It was 100% avoidable too. It's Graham Allen. Go and get his book. It's called Dear America, Live Like It's 9/12. I mean, this is the antithesis of living like it's 9/12. We've got a divided country like we haven't seen in a very, very long time. And you're right. And I've talked about this a million times. On 9/12, we were galvanized. We were all Americans. We were all New Yorkers, for God's sakes, from every corner of this country. And we weren't going to take this garbage. How dare they? How dare they kill American citizens going to work, trying to provide for their families, or American citizens flying on planes, just trying to get from A to B? How dare they? And here we are 20 years later, and we're almost more divided than what we saw in Vietnam. I mean, what do we do to get back to that mentality that we had just 20 short years ago?
I think, unfortunately, it always takes tragedy for Americans to realize how lucky we have it and how amazing we have it here in America. I would say the biggest slap in the face 20 years. I mean, we're almost 20 years to the day, is now we don't have Americans that were attacked on soil by terrorists. We have actually abandoned Americans in terrorist controlled territory. It is, if you would have told me 20 years ago, if you would have told me 12, 15 years ago when I was in Iraq, that this is how all of this would have ended, I would have said you're crazy. There's
Right.
no way that ever would have happened. Living like it's 9/12. I mean, I've literally got it on my shirt right here. It's a company that I own. It is all about that day where there was no race, religion, political preference. It didn't matter. We
Right.
were all just Americans. And the biggest things that Americans have to remember is, A, they hold the power in this country, not the government. That's one big thing that we've forgotten. And B, we don't have to always agree on everything. We just have to agree on one thing, that we are Americans. And under those principles laid out in our founding documents and our Constitution and our rights, we agree to abide and protect that as Americans. That's it. That's it. On 9/11/2001, we were attacked. On 9/12/2001, we came together and we said, you know what? We understand the agreement and the pact that we have with each other, and we're going to reinforce that. We're all going to come together. That's the only way that we get out of this clown world nightmare that we find ourselves in right now.
Well, I could not agree with you more, but see, here's the problem. Again, go to GrahamAllenSC.com, get his book. It's called Dear America, Live Like It's 9/12, and watch every podcast he does, every video that he does. The guy's amazing. The problem is, for 20 straight years, the left, maybe for 18 or 19 years, because for a couple of years they pretended that they were all for one and one for all. They've been attacking through academia, big tech, big media, sports, Hollywood, music. Everybody has attacked the founding documents you talk about, the founding of the country you talk about, as racist, white supremacist, no good, and should be dismantled. If they could, they would set ablaze our Constitution. So how do you counterbalance that when they own everything that I just mentioned?
Well, I've called it on my show, so I guess it doesn't matter if I call it on your show. I think we're at the point where we are at civil disobedience. And what do I mean by that when I say civil disobedience? The words "don't tread on me" help start our country. I believe the words "make us" and "will not comply" are going to define this part. Whatever history is written after we're gone from this moment forward, I don't know. I don't know how things are going to work. But what I do know is we are on the cusp of losing the very things that make us who we are,
Right.
Americans, the freedom to choose. Joe Biden, just today, I watched his briefing after the FDA approved the Pfizer vaccine. He called on business owners to mandate the vaccine. The president of the United States is calling on business owners to do his dirty work for him,
Right.
because he knows he doesn't have the authority to mandate it himself. So he is threatening people's livelihoods and their ability to feed their families, to alter their ability to choose for a vaccine. It is crazy. We here at 912 United, I will never force my employees to take and inject something into their bodies that they fundamentally disagree with. If you want to get the vaccine, go get the vaccine.
Right.
If you want to wear a mask, go get the mask. But I will never allow anyone, not even the president of the United States, to infringe upon the rights of my employees to tell me how I'm going to operate my private business, which small businesses are the backbone of the American economy, which they tried to kill in the lockdowns in the first place. We're in a situation right now where we have to push back. I literally just did a post on Facebook before I got on this that I told everyone I'm calling all business owners to enter in what I'm calling the will not comply challenge. All business owners, you need to fight against this. You need to protect your employees' rights and their freedom to choose. The end. I've said it once and I've said it again. If you lose your job because you stand up for your freedom, 912 will have a job waiting on you. And if we get to a point where we can't hire anybody else, we know a lot of people that have a lot of networks that will find you a job to provide for your family, because we believe in it that strongly.
And that's what it's going to, Graham, that's what it's going to take. That's what it's going to take. It's going to take more business owners like you. Unfortunately, the way that the media has spun it and tech has spun it and the government has spun it, they're calling these recommendations or the guidance from the CDC or NIH somehow mandatory or somehow a mandate. They're not mandates. They're not laws. They're not mandatory. They're not legal. They can give me guidance all day. And the BS that those, I'm not vaccinated. I'm young enough. I'm healthy enough. I work out. I'm not worried about COVID-19. I am unafraid of it. And if it gets me and I die, they could dance on my grave. At the end of the day, I don't feel like it. If you think that you should get it, go and get it. I'm with you. You and I agree wholeheartedly. My body, my choice. The problem is we don't have enough people who are looking at these so-called mandates or the guidance as just that. They're acting as if they have to do it. And the lie that we're being told, you and I are actively being told that if we don't get vaccinated, we're somehow anti the people who did get vaccinated. I thought if you got vaccinated, you shouldn't be afraid of me. I can't do anything to you. And also, Graham, don't tell anybody. If you get vaccinated, you can still get it and you can still spread it. So this BS Absolutely. That you have to do it for some reason doesn't wash. In your heart of hearts, do you believe this is just a way to power and control over us? Is that all this really is?
I mean, I had COVID-19. I legitimately did. I had it. Or at least, I think I did. The PCR test, the CDC has now said can't tell the difference between that and the flu. So wow. I think I had COVID-19. And so it was not fun for me. I was one of the ones that it did suck. And I still was anti-mask mandates, still anti-vaccine mandates. I am anti-mandate.
Exactly.
I am pro-freedom. That is it. That is wholeheartedly the way it goes. What really shocks me the most, and this is what I tell everybody, is if Delta variant is so contagious and if COVID, the Alpha variant, was so contagious, what about all of us that did have it? Why is no one talking about the natural immunity of anyone? All they're talking about is the vaccine, and now as the vaccine wears off after 6 months, you got to get booster shots and blah, 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 blah. Pfizer today, the same day that they get the FDA approval for their COVID shot, buys a cancer drug company for $2.3 billion the exact same day.
Because the government mandated that we buy their product. That's the problem. When the government mandates that we buy their product, they've got nothing but money to spare. And you know what? You can't mention zithromycin, you can't mention zinc, can't mention hydroxychloroquine, because if you do, you're somehow a bad guy. Graham, I could talk to you for 2 hours. Can we do this again very soon?
Absolutely, I'd love to.
It's GrahamAllenSC.com. Graham is GrahamAllenSC.com. Get his book, Dear America, Live Like It's 912. Consume everything this guy does. He's amazing. Thanks a million, Graham. Appreciate you.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
All right, brother. We're back after this. Stay right here.